What if Giannis Antetokounmpo isn't staying in Milwaukee? And never really planned to. On the surface, it looks like Giannis shut down the rumors.
Griffin, nice swing. Antetokounmpo goes Claxton.
He went to Brazil, fixed up a court for the kids, and told some media outlet that he's hoping to be back soon with the Bucks. Boom. Headline everywhere. Right? Not so fast. Because when you look closely, the quote barely exists. The source is sketchy.
His first personal, and so that foul was called, not a shooting foul. Yes! Taking it all the way for the slam.
Oops. Rebound, Connaughton. Lopez. Euro. Oh, some English.
And the same media insiders who were confidently calling a potential trade just weeks ago, they're now awkwardly backpedaling like they never said a word. Something's off. So what's really going on? Is Giannis playing us all? Or is something much bigger brewing behind the scenes? Let's break it down, and by the end of this video, you might realize this isn't over, not even close. The Brazil bombshell, real or just PR spin? Giannis took a trip to Brazil. A wholesome story. He paid to refurbish an old basketball court in a low-income neighborhood. Total feel-good vibes. The kind of story that makes you root for a guy like him all over again. But then something weird happened. A quote surfaced from an obscure media outlet, Coast to Coast Brazil, claiming Giannis told them he hoped to return soon with the Bucks. Suddenly, Bucks fans online went into full celebration mode. Local Milwaukee media framed it as confirmation that their MVP wasn't going anywhere. Giannis was loyal to the soil. But here's the weird part. There's no video. No real footage of Giannis actually saying those words. No clip. No Instagram story. Nothing on YouTube. Nothing on his own pages. Just a mysterious quote floating around on Twitter with no source link and no visual to back it up. And let's be real. If Giannis actually said that, wouldn't every major sports outlet be blasting it non-stop? Wouldn't Shams or Woj be reporting it within minutes? The fact that none of that happened raises eyebrows. It feels like someone's trying to manage the narrative or calm the storm just enough to buy time. Why would Giannis announce his future in Brazil to them? We're talking about Giannis here, one of the faces of the NBA, a global icon. When a player of his stature decides to announce his future, it doesn't happen quietly in a one-off quote. LeBron made a whole ESPN special called The Decision. Kevin Durant dropped his bombshell through the Players Tribune. Even Kyrie Irving, who thrives on chaos, uses calculated platforms when he wants to make a statement. So why would Giannis drop something this huge to an outlet most American fans have never even heard of? Why Brazil? Why now? The whole thing feels off. Like it wasn't supposed to be a real announcement. Like he said something casual, and it got twisted into a headline. Or worse, maybe it was planted to control public sentiment. Because if Giannis truly wanted to put an end to the speculation, he has every resource to do it. Clearly, directly, and powerfully. A tweet, a sit-down with ESPN, even a recorded message to his fans. This was either a miscommunication or a diversion, and either one says more than the quote itself. The media is already backpedaling, and that's a huge clue. Let's not forget who got the ball rolling here. Shams Charania was the first major insider to report that Giannis was open-minded about leaving the Bucks. That phrase alone set NBA Twitter on fire.
There's a level of skepticism. Does he really go through with it? There's a difference between being open-minded and, from what I'm told, exploring other options and asking for a trade. He's in the process of figuring out exactly what he...
But fast forward a couple of weeks, and the tone has completely changed. Shams is now walking it back, saying there's a difference between being open-minded and asking for a trade. Now he claims Giannis is just figuring out what he wants. Brian Windhorst added to the confusion by saying there's no trade market for Giannis and that the Bucks aren't fielding offers. Jake Fisher said confidence in a trade has been replaced by skepticism. So let's get this straight. Within a matter of days, the entire NBA insider community went from Giannis could be gone to nah, never mind, with zero explanation. Either they were wrong or something changed behind the scenes. Maybe Giannis or his team told them to chill. Maybe the Bucks did. Or maybe, just maybe, this was all a carefully managed media cycle to keep everyone guessing while Giannis plots his next move. Giannis's silence is screaming louder than any quote. The most powerful thing Giannis has said this offseason is what he hasn't said. He hasn't posted a heartfelt message to Bucks fans reassuring them. He hasn't done an interview with anyone from the US media. He hasn't even used his own massive platform to clarify his position. That tells you something. Because Giannis knows the game. He's not some passive player caught in a media storm. He's incredibly aware of what he says, when he says it, and who he says it to. And right now, he's saying nothing. It's the silence that makes everything louder. Because if he was committed, why wouldn't he just say it and shut down the drama? The longer he waits, the more it looks like he's leaving the door open. Maybe not today, but soon. That silence is leverage, and he's using it like a pro. Giannis's silence is screaming louder than any quote. Here's the thing, Giannis is calculated. Always has been. He rarely speaks because silence gives him leverage. It keeps the pressure on the Bucks. It keeps the fans guessing. And it gives him options. Sometimes what you don't say speaks louder than what you do. Number 5, the Bucks' biggest problem. They have no plan B. Let's be real. Milwaukee is not in a good place right now. They don't own their own first-round pick until 2031. They're locked into a roster that's aging, injured, and capped out. Damian Lillard, hurt, out for the season. Brook Lopez, 36 and slowing down. Middleton, not the same. And outside of those guys, who's the next star? Bobby Portis? They've got no elite young talent, no flexibility, and no room to chase anyone in free agency. They're already over the cap. Their best pitch to Giannis? Please stay through a gap year. Except gap years only work if you've got assets on the other side. The Bucks don't. They're trying to sell a dream they can't afford. 6. Loyalty versus legacy. The Giannis dilemma. This is the crossroads. Giannis has always preached loyalty. It's part of his brand. He's said before that staying with one franchise would be special. But he's also said, I don't want to be in the same place for 20 years and never win again. He's in his prime, top 3 player in the world, and he knows it. So what's worse, leaving and risking his image, or staying and wasting his golden years? If he walks, he risks being called disloyal, a Dame 2.0. But if he stays and the Bucks never recover, he becomes another what if. That's the tightrope Giannis is walking. And every day he stays quiet, he keeps the leverage in his pocket. The escape plan. Where would he even go? Let's say Giannis decides he's done. He asks out. What's next? Well, it's not as simple as you'd think. The realistic landing spots? Knicks, Nets, Raptors, Spurs, Rockets. None of them are guaranteed contenders. Some are mid, some are rebuilding, some just aren't that exciting. And the last thing Giannis wants? To become the next big-name superstar stuck in the wrong situation. He doesn't want to be Dame, all loyalty, no rings. So if he moves, it has to be the right move, which might mean not now. Maybe he waits until next summer, when a true contender cracks and an opportunity opens up. Number 8, the Bucks' wild long-term gamble. Believe it or not, the Bucks do have one risky plan on the table. It starts on draft night. What if Milwaukee convinces Houston to trade their lottery pick in exchange for a 2032 first-rounder? Sounds crazy, but it's not unheard of. The Wolves pulled a similar move last year. Then next year, the Pelicans control the Bucks' pick swap. But if both teams suck, Milwaukee could end up with 2 top 10 picks in back-to-back years. That's how they rebuild, by hoping for lottery miracles. Phase 2? Cap space. But let's be honest. Stars don't pick Milwaukee. 9. Can that plan actually work? Not likely. Free agency isn't what it used to be. Today's stars don't hit the open market. They just re-sign, then ask out later. And Milwaukee's not LA. It's not Miami. Even if they have the money, they don't have the magnet. So they'll probably end up overpaying for high-level role players. Brandon Ingram, Tyler Herro, Austin Reeves, DeJounte Murray, Michael Porter Jr. Decent names, but no guarantees. And definitely no second superstar. So what's the plan here? Hope Giannis drags a bunch of B-level guys to another title? It's a long shot, and Giannis knows it. 10. Is Giannis leaving? Here's the honest truth. The truth? Nobody knows. Not Shams, not Woj, not even Giannis. But everything around him, the silence, the media contradictions, the Bucks' collapse, suggests one thing. Something is shifting. He may not ask out today. He may not do it this summer. But the clock is ticking. And the way things are going, the next move might not be loud. It might not be messy. It might just happen, quietly, like a storm you didn't see coming. So don't be fooled by a random quote in Brazil. Don't believe the sudden silence from the same insiders who swore he was out. And don't think Giannis is just relaxing in the offseason. He's watching, waiting, calculating. Because the most dangerous move is the one you never see coming. Subscribe if you want to be the first to know what Giannis really does next.